Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. 5G versus the airline industry, what it has to do with supply shortages and NeoCoV, or the new COVID virus that potentially could kill 1 in 3 people. Boy, there's a lot to get to. Been a tough week for me. Some of you may already know I lost my niece last Thursday, and we just had the funeral the other day, and that's why I've been kind of out of commission. Can't think. That being said, Kaylee Gettings, and she passed away, and her twin sister and her child and her twin sister's child, they made it, but Kaylee did not. And just keep my family in your prayers. Just seen that on WION, and that, interestingly enough, that's where we're going to go with this, because I saw it as well, and I fact-checked it pretty well, and I really want to get into both of those things. We're going to do a reaction to their video and, see what you guys think about that. So, for those who are new, if you're watching this elsewhere, please come over to YouTube, type in ClimateViewer, all one word, or use the URL on screen and hit that subscribe button. If not, come over to connect.climateviewer.com and you can see all 3 of my websites. Ways to support me, because supporting my work is pretty much the only way I get any money doing this, and your donations are greatly appreciated and needed right now. Links to the merch shop, all of my video channels, YouTube, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, social networks, and the Discord chat room, all available there, and I will keep this updated as we add new things. That being said, let's get into this thing. So I just discovered this World is One News channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'm pretty impressed so far. So I would love for you guys to go over and subscribe to WION. It's World is One News. Apparently they're out of India, and they seem to be pretty straight shooters so far. So we're going to play the video and we're going to react to it, and you tell me what you think based on my reactions. Let's get it.
Our cover story tonight is about an international botch-up. Hundreds of flights are being grounded, this time not because of the Wuhan virus, but because of technology, 5G technology. What was promised as our boarding pass to the future has grounded our flights. Pilots around the world are afraid to fly to the US, and this includes India's oldest carrier, Air India. It had suspended several flights to the United States because pilots fear 5G waves could bring planes down. And this is no exaggeration. The risk is real, and the chaos over the last few days led to serious questions. 1, is 5G dangerous? And 2, why did no one think of this before? When countries...
And that's really the number one and number 2 question. Why didn't they think about it? And is it dangerous? Now, there are many of us who have been following 5G since before they rolled out the first tower, talking about, how dangerous this stuff is, the human health effects of wireless transmissions. This is published in 2014. My original copy of this was around 2000. Wi-Fi, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and EMF health effects. If you guys don't know about how wireless signals affect the electrical systems of your body, which are your nervous system, which then in turn affects hormone production, which then affects human health overall, let alone the cancer and the tinnitus and the, people who are wirelessly sensitive like myself. These are things you should probably know about, but why does EMF even affect you? Because DNA is a fractal antenna in electromagnetic fields, and that DNA damage could account for cancer epidemiology as a result of EMF in the environment, electromagnetic frequencies. And lots of breakdown on that. This is all available at climateviewer.com/EMF. But back to the 5G thing. So why didn't they think about it? Because money? Let's continue.
Countries were pouring billions of dollars into 5G. Are we looking at rollbacks now or upgrades? On Gravitas tonight, we'll discuss all of this, starting with a problem. This week, America's phone networks are getting a major 5G upgrade. Verizon and AT&T are switching to new and faster 5G technologies. Faster internet and more network capacity, at least that's the promise that they've made to their customers. But this upgrade has spooked pilots. First, the pilots of American carriers protested against the rollout. Chief executives of American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United and Southwest wrote a joint letter. They said they will ground their planes. Then international carriers cancelled flights. India's Air India, the UAE's Emirates, Japan's Nippon and Japan Airlines, Germany's Lufthansa and British Airways, they've all either modified their flight schedules or cancelled their flights altogether.
And that would probably be a good thing because, honestly, there's way too many flights as it is. We all know my position on plane farts and the particulate matter they spread across our atmosphere, creating a blanket blocking out sunlight and generally poisoning the whole planet. So I just generally hate airplanes altogether. You won't catch me. If I'm on an airplane, it's because somebody put my ass in a casket and is moving me. And that's that. So less airlines, the better. Please continue.
How many cancellations are we talking about? At least 250 flights to the US in the past couple of days. These airlines won't fly to major American cities like Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, and New York. However, some airlines have begun resuming flights. Air India is one of them. It says it will resume flights to the US. So if you're flying to America this week, make sure you check your flight schedule once again. And it's not just commercial flights that will be hit. Cargo planes have also been affected. Delivery giants like FedEx and UPS are afraid to fly. Here's what they said in a statement, and I can quote for you. To be blunt, the nation's commerce will grind to a halt. What are all of these companies afraid of? What are pilots complaining about? A device called a radio altimeter. All planes have this device, a radio altimeter. What does it do? It tells you how far the plane is from the ground. Pilots use it during poor visibility. A radio altimeter basically helps them land the plane. So it's indispensable. But America's new and faster 5G could break this device. Pilots say the new 5G network in the US could interfere with radio altimeters on their planes. 5G waves could confuse this device, and pilots fear that they could be blinded by this interference. They won't be able to tell how far the plane is from the ground.
The frequency band that 5G uses is very similar to the frequency band that radar altimeters use. And there's possibility that there's interference or false signals with the 5G and our radar altimeters.
So that's...
And that really brings us to the question that they just brought up, that not just commercial flights, people flying to and fro, that the supply chain could be interrupted. Now, we've all talked a lot, and heard a lot about all of the ships off the coast of California and all of the Amazon deliveries getting dumped on the side of railroads from literal train thieves. And I was, just kind of contemplating what the hell's going on here when I'm going to the freaking grocery store and that is what we're seeing. I mean, there was no meat at all. And this is in a freaking super Walmart. All right. Let me flip through this real quick. That is the supply shortages in Sumter, South Carolina. Okay. This is what it's looking like. And I mean, nothing. Absolute rows of nothing. This looks like the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Let's go, Brandon. Holy fuck, I am so aggravated right now by the inability of people to get their stuff together. But I'm telling you what, if you haven't thought about getting your feces consolidated and coming up with a plan and having some survival food on hand, you probably should at this point. Me, I live in Sumter, South Carolina. I can walk out my front door, my back door, and at night I can point a gun in any general direction, and if I shoot it, 2 deer are gonna fall down. On top of that, I have a year's worth of survival food, plenty of guns and ammunition, plenty of propane. I was a Boy Scout. I'm prepared for 2 years of none of this stuff. And my wife, and my 2 kids, we're gonna be fine. Are you? Because at the end of the day, when the shelves are bare, when they stop flying all of this stuff around, when globalization completely fails, and when we get to the end of this video, when they roll out the next wave of fear porn, NeoCoV, holy shit, it's about to get interesting. Have I started my garden? Yes, I have. And I hope that you guys too, because even during World War II, we had V for Victory gardens. Decentralize everything, decentralize the internet, decentralize your supply chain, make sure that you can get things locally. Back to the video.
What's the big worry? What's the solution? A buffer zone. Airlines and pilots want no 5G around airports. Let me read what they said in a statement, and I'm quoting. The airlines ask that 5G be implemented everywhere in the country except within the approximate 3.2 kilometers of airport runways at some key airports. The problem has become too big to ignore for the White House, and for good reason. 5G threatens to shut down a major part of the U.S. economy. On Tuesday, Washington said a solution is being discussed.
Tomorrow is the deadline. Our objective is, of course, to reach a solution around 5G deployment that maintains the highest level of safety while minimizing disruptions to passenger travel. That's what we're working towards.
That's what they're working towards. I don't know what in the fuck they are doing in that White House, but they are not working towards anything except for destroying America. I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I am a rugged individualist. I don't care what your political ideology is, but I generally hate all politicians. All of them. Because they are useless. They get their degrees. They get their overpaid jobs. They dictate to all of us little people what's going to happen. And you know what? They're wrong about everything. So if you think that the same people that have literally destroyed the sovereignty of America by leaving the doors wide open so that any Tom, Dick, or Harry or Hernandez can literally just stroll on in, and then they're going to fly them around the country and drop them off. If you think those people that can't secure the trains and the boats and get crap where it's supposed to be going, if you think they're going to be able to fix this anytime soon, when you've got lobbyists from the cell phone companies that have been able to literally fry people's brains and give them cancer for years without any ramifications, and then now they're rolling out their 5G everywhere. I mean, I got 5G signals in 3 directions here in Sumter, South Carolina, and I can't stand it. I'm sensitive to that crap. I've been experiencing major headaches and migraines, and don't get me started. But the lobbyists just own this administration right now. And I don't see anybody changing that around anytime soon. So I hate to be a depression wagon. I know I just went through a funeral. I'm a little down, but somebody please in the comments, show me the light. Show me how we're going to get around, a completely ineffectual government that cannot do anything. Just look at the VA homes, the Veterans Affairs. for years, the people who served our country would go to these doctors and die. Why? Because they're run by the government. You can take anything and give it to the government and tell them to run it, and they will fuck it up. I am going to curse a lot today because these two topics have got me really heated. Love you, mean it.
Today, a compromise was reached. AT&T and Verizon have delayed the 5G launch near key airports. They say they won't switch on the 5G towers near airports. But that decision has not restored confidence. Some flights are back on schedule, but US federal officials say that you should expect delays and cancellations of flights. And this is a problem that could have been avoided. And if it is not resolved quickly, thousands of people could be affected. Let me give you some estimates. If 5G continues interfering with planes, as many as 350,000 flights could be delayed every year. 350,000. Airlines predict that on a busy day, at least 100,000 passengers could be affected. They could be forced to face cancellations, diversions, or delays. What is the cost of such disruption? $1.6 billion every year. And I'm not talking about the losses that airlines would suffer. The passengers, you and I, would bear this cost, this loss.
No, not you and I. You and other people, because I'm not getting on those planes. So this is going to cost me a thing. In fact, I hope it breaks the airline industry. Maybe then they'll, figure out that maybe we should high-speed rail all this stuff around and then put bullets and freaking armored windows and laser beams to zap anybody trying to steal the crap being shipped around. But regardless, I want my stuff shipped as locally as possible. I don't want it flown overseas. I don't want your apples from freaking Peru. If they're not in season, screw it. But, yeah, continue.
Loss. More than $1 billion every year due to flight delays. So the most obvious question now is, why did not anyone think about this before? Who is to blame for this mess? A bitter blame game is on. It's between the American civil aviation regulators and telecom companies. Regulators say the new 5G technology has not been tested. 5G in the US is said to be 2.5 times more powerful than anywhere else in the world.
Right there. That 5G in America is 2.5 times more powerful than anywhere else in the world. Why is that? Somebody riddle me that. In fact, I was looking in the comments earlier, and somebody actually talked about that, and I'll see if I can find it really quick. That even in China, it says China is 700 hertz for radio and television, 2.6 for China Mobile, 3.5 for China Unicom, which are far away and they don't interfere with the altimeter on the plane. But somehow in America, it's on the exact same frequency that the radio altimeter on the plane uses, and that that's going to lead to interference, because when you have two signals so closely jammed together, they can override each other. Whichever one's the more powerful signal could, at least end up interfering or completely overtaking that signal. So it's insane to me that, I go to football, I see like football. I don't go to football. I see football on TV, and then I see these masts like you're seeing right here on the screen. And I mean, they're just loaded down with these banks of these, phased array antennas. And the fact that their power output is 2.5 times what you'd find anywhere else in the world just goes to show you that in America, if you got that money, and you got them lobbyists, no amount of science, no amount of, caring about human health will matter. As long as the freaking robots out there and all the NPCs are like, my signal is not strong enough. I'm trying to download a video while uploading a video and playing 5 video games. I need faster service. I don't touch this thing. I have a cell phone, I literally leave it on mute and I keep it as far away from me as possible. And everything in my house is wired. I literally raise hell with my children if they turn the Wi-Fi on, because my router literally has a button right on top of it to turn the Wi-Fi on. If it's on less than an hour. That's my family rule. And then it gets cut off. If my wife cuts it on, she knows she's going to catch hell from me if I'm like, baby, did you turn it off? Oh, I forgot. And I'm like, no Wi-Fi. And when they tried to put the smart meter in behind my house, I went out there and I literally kicked them off my property. So I can't do anything about the freaking antennas that, you know, are a mile or two away that are on these huge masts, because I'm just one guy and I don't have, you know, $1 billion worth of lobbyists and some, you know, as Ice Cube said, for my birthday, buy me a politician. Everything's corrupt.
Pilots and carriers say more tests are needed to ensure that this kind of 5G can coexist with the planes. The telecom companies are blaming regulators. Here is what one of them said, and I'm quoting again. We are frustrated by the FAA's inability to do what nearly 40 countries have done, 40, which is to safely deploy 5G technology without disrupting aviation services, and we urge it to do so in a timely manner.
We, the lobbyists, urgently want the FAA to safely deploy 5G around airports, because, you know, the rest of the friggin' country is just not good enough. We need it near the airports too, and we need it to be done safely and in a timely manner. Even though they had 5 years to get this shit worked out, they couldn't get it worked out. There is no amount of time when, you know, that could ever allow for them to do long-term health studies, let alone just figure out something as simple as, well, you know, the frequency of your 5G 2.5 times more powerful than anywhere else on the earth towers shouldn't be the same, near so damn close to the same frequency as the radio altimeter that tells the plane how close it is to the ground, and people might die. I mean, people probably do die as a result of EMF exposure over time, but proving that in a court of law, very hard to do. 5G interrupting a radio altimeter and causing a plane crash, that makes the freaking news. So we shall see.
The FAA is the Federal Aviation Administration, which is basically the American...
I'm gonna interrupt. Darren just says, this excuse for more supply chain disruptions, in my opinion. I think so too. I think that they will literally roll out any kind of excuse for why former Vice President Joe Biden cannot get anything done on the fact that we have nothing. I mean, like, nothing is coming in. Like, everything is going empty. I am so pissed off about the direction this country's going in right now, and the complete ignorance of the people that voted this moron into office. And do I think that Donald Trump was perfect? Hell no. But do I think that things were going pretty damn well while he was in office? You damn right, because every time I turned on the news, I could grab some popcorn and just eat it up. I mean, he was trolling everybody, and I love a good troll. You know, I'm a troll. Like, you get me in a video game and I see you're having some smart ass comments, I'm gonna troll you. You know, I've been a hacker since I was 11. That by definition makes me a troll. So yeah, did I like Donald Trump? You damn right. Why? Because he wasn't a grab-astic. I mean, he did do some grabbing. But he wasn't a grab-astic, money-sucking, vampiric, freaking bureaucrat who's been in Washington their whole life and made their money on a job that should be public service, How does everybody go to Washington and end up a fucking millionaire if lobbyists aren't padding their pockets? And if you think that the lobbyists aren't padding the pockets of all these guys in Congress who are on influential, seats, or, the whole White House, these guys bought and paid for our government, and they will continue to buy and pay for our government, and we will still have no say. So get frustrated, Verizon, AT&T. Maybe you should buy some more politicians and all these problems will go away. But guess what? You still have to deal with the rest of the world and pilots that don't want to blow up a plane full of people because you asshats can't get it together. Trump is an actor, he says. Richard, a stonemason, not a Freemason. Trump was an actor. His show was called The Apprentice, and it was like the #1 show on TV. And the reason why it was is because he knew how to look at an asshole who was bullshitting and say, "You're fired." The problem in Washington is nobody has brass balls or a spine, and they are not going to fire anybody who sucks at their job. Unless it's because they're about to lose their job and they need to throw somebody under the bus. Let's continue.
Civil aviation regulator. So this problem is not new. 5G is available commercially in 61 countries now. More than 1,300 cities get 5G signals. But except for the US, planes seem to be landing safely everywhere else. So what is the conclusion? The United States botched up its 5G rollout. That is the conclusion. There is a lesson here for the rest of the world. 5G is coming. It's only a matter of time, it seems. By 2030, the 5G ecosystem will be worth $8 trillion the world over. No country would want to miss out on this opportunity, but if you cannot get your rollout right, you're bound to lose money rather than making it.
And that is the point. It's all about them dollars. Elon Musk's Starlink is 5G, somebody says in chat. So one of the things that I covered a while back, since you brought up Starlink, I'll just go ahead and bring it all the way back up to the top, was that I wrote an article called 5G and Broadband from Space and Airplanes. Okay? And coming soon to a sky near you, FCC approves SpaceX Starlink wireless satellites and the airborne wireless network. Of course, Facebook was going to launch their new internet satellite to provide 5G from space and allow people in other countries to, basically get on the internet for free so that they could stay on Facebook all day long. With the filing, Facebook joins Elon Musk, SpaceX, and SoftBank-backed OneWeb, two well-funded organizations working on similar projects. Didn't Elon Musk blow up his satellite? And that's why Mark Zuckerberg hates Elon Musk. Side note, anyway. But yeah, 7,518 broadband satellites have been approved, with an additional 4,425 satellites are approved in 8 months, were approved 8 months ago. So we're, talking about 11,943 SpaceX Starlink 5G from space satellites operating on frequencies between 37.5 and 42 gigahertz for space to earth transmissions, and frequencies between 47.2 and 51.4 gigahertz for earth to space transmissions. Power ratings, they don't really talk about those. Very hard to find any information on that. Very hard to find any information on any of these 5G towers. Who makes them, where they're deployed, what their power levels are, how many antennas per mast, what the specific absorption rate is of an individual within the range of that. I hope to dig very deeply into this in the near future because I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. You want to know? Let me know in the comments. If you already know, bruh, send me some links. Send me some links. But this is why I brought this up, because aircraft broadband. This was called the Airborne Wireless Network. And the whole idea was, an airborne wireless network where every single plane in the sky acts as its own cell phone tower and repeats from plane to plane to plane to plane. And I think that would be pretty freaking interesting, because, at the end of the day, this is just not realistic. They're talking about, basically, because there's so many flights in the air at one time, that they basically have the ability to bounce signals from plane to plane all the way around the world and provide cell phone coverage to their passengers. But the antennas have to be on the planes themselves. So let me get this straight. A 5G tower can't be too close to an airport because it might interrupt systems, but putting antennas on planes, that's completely fine. I was trying to find a plane tracker link, but apparently it's buried in I have way too many links. Way too many links. It's in there somewhere. I'll find it another time. My goodness, I have way too many links. But let's go back to that. So anyway, this airborne wireless network had a patent for it, and it shows right here, that up to 4 sets of antennas may be required. And they show an example, like right here on the tail fin, of your 5G tower on the tail fin to connect all the planes together. Interestingly enough, I did a quick check to see, how far they've gotten on this, and airbornewirelessnetwork.com is gone. So maybe that has something to do with this, and why bad tech fails, as someone just said in chat. But we'll see about that. Which brings us to our final video. Is everybody ready for the next round of fear porn? I mean, that's what I want to know, because me, I'm not thrilled about that sort of thing. I made a video back in 2020, and it was my predictions, basically. Let's just put it that way. On coronavirus, mass hysteria, and fear porn. And you can go look this video up. It's pretty darn priceless. But basically, I was
coronavirus bunker where I'm in self-quarantine from all the mass hysteria and fear porn. So what I want to do today is kind of update you on the situation, get some real facts, some numbers, go over a couple maps, and let's take a look at the big picture of what's going on with the coronavirus craze and all of the fear porn associated with it.
And this was in March 15th, 2020. Now, I, challenge any one of you in chat, watching this video, go to my ClimateViewer YouTube page, watch this video, and you tell me, was my predictions right? Because guess what? I'm almost always right. I'm 99.9% fucking right on my predictions. And they were predicting 2 million dead at the time of this video being made. And I went over how many people died from diarrhea each year. But regardless, I said, very clearly, this will all be used to strip you of your rights. It's going to cause mass hysteria and fear porn. And, everybody's going to just lock themselves down like good little sheep and wear their masks. And people still wearing masks today. Don't get me wrong. If you want to wear a mask, do your thing. But unless you're in one of those moon suits like you see in, the freaking movies where they're working in a biohazard lab, you're probably not gonna stop a virus from passing through a mask, even an N95 mask. The the likelihood of something that small getting through the sides of the mask because it doesn't properly fit you, even if you had a very good mask that could filter that, are extremely high. Ask anybody who's ever put a mask on that wear glasses. Do your glasses fog up every time you breathe out? Then your mask is not working. YouTube's probably gonna have a field day with me for doing this. I just don't give a fuck at this point. I gotta be me. I gotta say, be free, and I gotta speak freely. So we're gonna talk about these things, and here we go.
And here's something else that does not quit. The coronavirus, not the one from Wuhan. This is another coronavirus. But interestingly, or ominously, it was flagged by scientists in Wuhan. They're calling...
That's a raging clue. This video was posted January 28th, yesterday. It already has 820,000 views. Clearly some other people in the chat have already seen it, but we're going to go over it because this is your false flag. This is your big heads up. This is freaky AF. Buckle your seatbelts for the next wave of fear porn.
It NeoCoV. How is this one different from the Wuhan virus? You see, coronavirus does not refer to one virus. It refers to a group of viruses. It's a type like SARS-CoV-1 or SARS-CoV-2 or the MERS-CoV, the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS.
So for those who don't know, on ClimateViewer, .org, I've been tracking these sorts of things for quite a while. And you can actually come in here to the history and science section, and you can go to disease outbreaks. And you can see Candida auris, U.S. measles outbreaks, spread of Ebola, the Ebola outbreaks, infectious disease quarantines from around the world, Middle East respiratory syndrome, MERS outbreaks, mad cow disease outbreaks, worldwide outbreak of SARS. So all of these diseases they're talking about, guess what? We have maps that show exactly what happened, where, and when. And this is not something new. It's been coming for quite some time. And these are pretty freaky. So there's MERS, obviously mostly centralized in the Middle East, but you see it spreading to other countries. The same thing with Ebola. If those can remember, 2015 wasn't that long ago when everybody thought that everybody in America was going to die from freaking Ebola, which is kind of ironic. But it's mainly in, the central part of Africa. That's where Ebola lives. Ebola, pretty freaky. Bleeding out of every pore and orifice in your body, pretty creepy. But these COVID, these coronaviruses, like MERS, like SARS, they have been, in the news and kind of freaky. So people tend to have, their freak out moment over these sorts of things. But you can actually come in here. What is Middle East respiratory syndrome? What is MERS like SARS? The questions are all right there. And then you can actually go through camels infected with MERS. Saudi Arabia warns MERS risk from camels. Cases arise. So this is the case where camels, not bats, were giving this coronavirus to humans. MERS vaccine helps mice fight off deadly virus. And then all of the different cases, and you can just click on them and fly over to them, and it tells you all about it. You can World Health Organization link, a 50-year-old woman with underlying medical conditions from Riyadh who became ill on August 1st, 2013, and is currently hospitalized, now off ventilation. And, just all of the different cases of the SARS and MERS and all of that, that's what she's talking about here. And so COVID-19 is just another variant of the same thing, except, it all looks like, now Freedom of Information Act requests confirm that the National Institute of Health and Dr. Anthony Fauci helped fund the study of this virus and the mutation of it, the gain of function of it, that in all likelihood that COVID-19 was a weaponized version of a novel coronavirus that used to live just in bats and wouldn't hurt anybody. And now it was unleashed on the entire world during the Hong Kong riots, when the Hong Kong people were trying to get their freedom, which immediately led to a lockdown of all Hong Kong. Videos on the internet of China literally welding people's doors shut so they're welded in their own homes. And, oh, by the way, still allowing people to fly everywhere and spread it around the whole freaking planet. So, good news from Wuhan. We found another potential bat virus that could kill 1 in 3 people. Please continue.
These are all coronaviruses. NeoCoV is another one. And just to be clear, this is not a new virus. It was first discovered in bats from South Africa. So why are we talking about it now? Because the scientists in Wuhan have flagged 2 big concerns. Number 1, it could start infecting humans. 1 mutation, that's all it needs. 1 more mutation and NeoCoV could start infecting humans. Concern number 2, the mortality rate. NeoCoV is apparently
1 more mutation and it could infect humans. That is exactly what happened with COVID-19, the original one, not Delta and Omicron. The original one that affected humans was modified. This has been confirmed by very prominent scientists, one of which worked at the lab and was on, I think, Tucker Carlson and several other news outlets, giving first-hand account. And you're not talking about somebody who's just a conspiracy theorist. She is like one of the top virologists on the planet. And she was very specific about the gene splicing and the stuff that happened with that. That is a man-made virus. So now we're talking about yet another coronavirus that with 1 mutation, or if somebody runs it through CRISPR or any of these gene splicing applications and does gain of function research on it, just about any disease out there that is in animals can be worked on at these biological warfare centers around the world. The United States has them, Russia has them, China has them, lots of people have them. And they're constantly trying to come up with a better flu that can be more deadly and kill more people. We're in deep shit if something like this actually occurs and it's released.
a mix of SARS-CoV and MERS-CoV. It is highly transmissible.
It's a mix of SARS and
extremely
MERS.
Deadly, like MERS-CoV. Reports say 1 out of 3 patients could die. That's a mortality rate of around 33%. I'll put that number in context for you. The Wuhan virus has a mortality rate of 1.5% now. That's after all the vaccinations and boosters, 1.5. In 2020, it was around 4 to 5%. NeoCoV could have a mortality rate of 33%. So it is highly transmissible and dangerous. I know this.
Yeah, there's that number, 33.
This might
Please
sound
continue.
scary to many of you. That was our first reaction as well. Are we in for another disaster? A virus from a bat, scientists from Wuhan, and the month of January. We have bad memories associated with all three.
Big coincidence, right? Wuhan, January, China.
But now is not the time to panic. Now is the time to test ourselves, to see if we have learned something from the last 2 years. For starters, see how credible this report is. It was published by scientists at the Wuhan University. Is it peer-reviewed? It isn't. And that should be a top priority right now. To get more experts to analyze the findings, we need...
Pause. Robert Kovacs, this news channel is major propaganda. The questions she's asking are very real. And I, fact checked the last video, it was right on point. Trust no CCP propaganda. Okay. Yeah, I agree with don't trust China, But this isn't China. This is a news organization from India. And I mean, saying this news channel is major propaganda is pretty freaking ignorant. Just saying. I've only watched 2 of their videos, but I'm just saying, I am, a critical thinker, and I'm very pragmatic. Everything that she's asking are the same questions that I'd be asking. That's why I'm even playing this and reacting to it, because this is how you critically think your way through something, as we will go into right now.
We need as many brains working on this findings. We need as many brains working on this as possible. Here's another question. Has the World Health Organization seen this report? Yes, they have. Here's what a WHO official had to say, and I'm quoting, "Animals, particularly wild animals, are the source of more than 75% of all emerging infectious diseases in humans. Whether the virus detected in the study will pose a risk for humans will require further study." So the WHO wants more research, more data to decide on what to do next. And this is where the world needs to be more proactive. Last time we let China take the lead. We let the WHO formulate our response. And we all know how that turned out. So this time we must...
It turned out like shit and destroyed our economy. But let's go.
More transparency. How was this report made? Why were the scientists from Wuhan researching this virus in the first place? What kind of research are they doing? All of these questions need to be answered. And this is not about panicking. This is about a science-based response, something China did not have the last time. Right now, 3 groups are involved in this study: China, Russia, and the World Health Organization.
China, Russia, and the WHO are currently the ones studying this and are going to publish the results. Who's going to trust that? Kay Mitchell, thanks for all you do. Kay Mitchell, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. China, Russia, and the World Health Organization are the ones that are currently doing the studies on this new NeoCoV. I won't trust anything that comes out of any one of those 3, because the WHO is bought and sold. It is a government entity. It is up to the highest bidder or influence peddler or threats or intimidation. I mean, I'll just point to all of the, IPCC reports on global warming and their reports on the influence of airplanes on our atmosphere, and anything they've ever published, and just go, WHO, basically means, they got their head in their ass. Russia, no, not going to trust the thing they got to say. China, definitely not going to trust anything they got to say. So who would you, let me know in the comments, who would you trust to come in and read the research that's coming out about this NeoCoV and publish peer-reviewed journal stuff, when there's only like 6 publishers out there and they pretty much control the flow of information? Anybody who disagrees with the common narrative is instantly censored. How can we trust anything anymore? How can we? I mean, YouTube, you're so damn concerned about misinformation. How can we trust anything anymore? Because, as they like to say, they want to, boost up the, verified sources and trustworthy news organizations. I don't trust any of them. They're wrong all the fucking time. So we're talking about a NeoCoV that can potentially kill 33% of people who are infected with it. And I'm supposed to trust Russia, China, and the WHO. And by the way, in the YouTube freaking, I'll show you this shit. YouTube freaking, the last time I talked about coronavirus, did this to me right here. Channel violation for active community guideline strikes, because I went and I dared talk about coronavirus, Project Veritas versus Fauci, Ouchie, and Facebook. And all I did was mention Project Veritas And what did they do? What did they do? Medical misinformation. So I have a warning on my channel right now, and there's a good chance that my ass could get banned just for talking about this today. But you know what? From me to YouTube directly, Susan Wojcicki, whatever the fuck your name is, you guys need to knock it the fuck off, because you're going to be a dead platform soon. Pretty much all you're going to do is have cat videos, fucking LGBTQ people talking about how they're so oppressed, and nobody, you're going to be the freaking MySpace of video websites. But regardless, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust any of the 3-letter agencies or 3-letter, CNN, NBC, FOX. I don't trust any of them. So I certainly don't trust Russia, China, and the WHO to give me a straight answer on NeoCoV. I expect that the technocrats that want this one world government, that want this great reset, that want to destroy our economy, will use this to further enslave and lock down and strangle the shit out of every single common man, woman on the planet. That's what I expect. And it really pisses me off.
We need to expand this circle because NeoCoV has the potential to be deadly. Like I said, it only needs one more mutation, and it could jump species. So here's what we need: transparency and preparedness. Our first priority must be studying NeoCoV, understanding the nature and risks of this virus. At the same time, we must prepare an effective playbook. What should we do if the virus does jump species? Do we go back to lockdowns and flight bans? Or do we have more logical and targeted strategies? The world is still paying for China's lies from 2019.
Facts.
We must ensure that there is no repeat in 2022.
Amen.
Neon is now available in your country.
So, does that sound like propaganda to you? Didn't sound like propaganda to me. Sounded like somebody going, I don't want the bullshit that happened with the first coronavirus, COVID-19 alpha. The stuff that I was talking about in my, coronavirus,
You can see
fear porn and mass hysteria video. I don't want to go back to this. I don't want to go back to, counting every single individual NeoCoV thing and it being reported on my phone. I can't check the effing weather on my freaking phone without it giving me this. And you can't make this shit up. I mean, really, this is what I got to deal with. Here's the weather in Sumter. It is currently 39 friggin' degrees. Oh, but wait, what's this? COVID-19 in the United States. What does that got to do with weather? So, I'm literally gonna lose it. I'm literally gonna lose it on these people, and I think it's time we all go ham. I mean, honestly, you better go hard as a motherfucker on everybody, because I am not going through dealing with supply shortages, infringements on my rights, any more people, like literally, I sneezed the other day because I have seasonal allergies, not because I have, any one of the Ronas. I sneezed, and this dude at the Young's at the gas station literally dove like I had dropped a freaking hand grenade. He dove into the candy aisle. He dove, like literally leapt onto a solid, cement floor. And I laughed my ass off. So now I'm to the point where I do the reverse psychology on people. And when I see them wearing a mask, I act like they're the problem. I'm like, oh, you must be sick. Because those are only effective if you're the one doing the sneezing and you don't want to get other people sick, because they can't actually stop you from getting a virus. So Whoa. Hey, your mask. Please get back. You have a mask on. You need to step back. Please step back. Get the fuck away from me. You have a mask on. You are infected. And I want to just remind people that this is how the Nazis did the Jews. This is how the Nazis convinced the German people that it was okay to kill Jews, because they were dirty people. They were unclean, unkempt, and they were disease carriers. And that is how you dehumanize people. And that when you dehumanize people, it can justify any sort of violence against them. And if you thought the Karens were bad, just wait till we get to that brave new world, that 1984 that we've all been warned about, or are we living it right now? Please let me know in the comments. Please keep me in your prayers. It's been the roughest week ever. We raised Haley and Kaylee. My sister had twins when she was 14 years old. I can't imagine losing a sister. I can't imagine losing a daughter. And I certainly couldn't imagine losing a sister who is a twin. And Kaylee was very special. And the funeral was enormous and moving and very positive. But that doesn't change the loss. And I know that there have been a lot of people who have lost people to COVID-19, coronaviruses, car crashes, all kinds of things. If you've experienced loss, then you know how I feel, and I feel for you as well. But the loss of our freedom is what scares me most, because that's what's going to affect my children's future and their children's future. And I want a free world order for them. So you guys are part of the solution, and I appreciate every single one of you who has supported me over the years, who've shared my videos, who've tuned in and listened to me, rant ad nauseum in my southern dialectic, in my slow manner. For those who've seen me, cry, seen me scream like today, dropping the F-bombs, because this matters AF. So I don't like the supply chain shortages. I don't like, plane farts. And I don't like 5G. I don't like coronavirus. I don't like mandates. I don't like people telling me what to do with my life, and I want to be able to live it as freely as possible. The real genius. Thanks for the sub. But honestly, I got my phone, wallet, keys. I play that so much. Ask me where I'm going, bitch, please. Got my phone, wallet, keys. My phone, my keys. I got my phone, wallet, keys. My phone, wallet, keys. My wallet is so sleaze. My phone, wallet, keys. On my keys, I keep this thing. It's for stabbing people. If you're not prepared, you're gonna be a sheeple. My phone, wallet, keys. All right. That's all the entertainment you're gonna get for today. Just go on YouTube and look at phone wallet keys if you haven't seen it. It's Adam Sandler. It's hilarious. It's so true. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you absolutely cannot stomach the YouTube censorship machine, if this video gets deleted for some reason, you'll know why. It will be mirrored on Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute. And if YouTube keeps their fucking shenanigans up, we'll just jump ship and stream live there. So screw them. But I hope that they can find it deep within their soul to do no evil and not censor people who disagree with the goddamn government and the official narrative agreed to by all the technocrats. That being said, information is power, and with power comes great responsibility. So please use that information to attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it.